Good morning and welcome to Two Scoops Morning News with Dan and Craig. I'm Craig.
And I am a fat black woman.
And here's your two scoops.
You're watching Two Scoops Morning News with Dan and Craig, your sunrise reminder that things could get worse, so laugh at them while you still can.
Good morning, Dan.
Do you think James Madison is proud of Lizzo?
N-
That's not what we're
Side
talking about.
tangent before we even start, side tangent. James Madison, 1812 crystal flute. Lizzo played it. Was she the first person or the first
I read the first
African-American?
person.
So then who cares? Like what accomplishment is it that somebody pulled out this old crusty flute and you're like, and they're like, oh my gosh, history was made.
Well, I'm getting feedback on your end. Am I coming through your headphones?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Indeed, you are.
All right. Yeah, I don't care. Yes, it's perfect representation of what America is. America is an obese person being celebrated for twerking on stage with a historic relic. Like, who cares? That's where we're at. Deal with it. But that's not what we're talking about today. Craig, what did you
No,
bring?
absolutely. So, I mean, it's always a good thing when some of these major companies decide to be diverse, especially when it comes to the LGBTQP, yeah, that thing. And
Can we just
Netflix
say?
is known for
Can we just call it gay
what?
and etc. from now on?
I think so.
Like it's
Well,
everybody at this point. Everybody but straight people. So just say not straight people, and you got it covered.
so Netflix is trying to get more diverse and add more LGBTQ or gay, etc. stuff. And so they decided to their latest addition to the gay, etc. content was the Netflix series Jeffrey Dahmer series because he was like gay and he ate gay people. So they tagged that LGBTQ. And then it's
Hey,
never good enough. It's never good enough. We give you content, and then you're like, "That's
you're
not
the
the content."
protagonist in the movie. Like you're the main. You're the lead and all the side characters. And you got like an all gay cast, or I guess it's not cast necessarily,
I
but
mean,
all the characters. If you want to
they want
if you wanted representation, you got the villain,
right.
you got the good guys, you got everybody. Still
That's what I
not
was
good
gonna
enough.
say. You want like gay superheroes and gay like Disney characters. Why is it a problem to have gay supervillains or cannibals at that or serial killers?
Especially
What
when
what do you
it's
think is
like
going
true. It's not even like they came up with a character. Not that it would make sense for them to be upset about a gay villain that's a fictional character, but this is a real thing that happened and a real gay guy. Like, were all the LGBTQ movies just supposed to be 100% like praising it? Like,
Now the question for me is, or for you is, what the hell was Netflix thinking by tagging this LGBTQ? They're like,
I
you
don't know,
know,
but I thank them.
if you like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, you would love this Dahmer series.
I mean, I would hope that nobody's watching the Dahmer series for their gay jollies, or to
I
I don't know. Honestly, I didn't know much about Dahmer. I know there's been like a million documentaries about the guy, but I've never watched a single one of them. I knew that he was like a murderer. I didn't know that he was gay serial killer dude. I knew that there was a gay serial killer dude, but I don't really care. I'm not a wine mom. I don't watch, the true crime shit.
You should totally watch this series. It's awesome, by the way. And the guy that plays Jeffrey Dahmer is Michael Scott's nephew,
Evan
the
Peters,
one that
who
what's that?
plays Evan Peters, who plays everything in all of the American Horror Stories.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Anyway, now I'll read a little bit, I guess. I guess that's why we're here, and then I'll talk. I'll
I
give
do
my
have some to
piece.
add to this as well.
I do as well. Netflix is no longer using the LGBTQ tag on its controversial series about deranged serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer following a furious backlash. Now, was this a controversial series before they put the LGBTQ? Was there people like, why are you having the serial killer series? Like they haven't been doing this in capitalizing off serial killers since the inception of
I don't think
Netflix.
anybody has a
Like,
problem with that.
no,
Even American Horror Story focuses a lot on stuff like
serial
true
killer.
crime shit and
Yeah.
yeah, serial killers.
Says the streaming service has not given an official reason for dropping the tag on Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, in which Evan Peters plays the Milwaukee cannibal who murdered and chopped up 17 men. However, it followed several days worth of outrage. I don't think they have to give a reason when they're
Yeah, I bet it
several
wasn't
days.
related. I bet it wasn't
No,
related at all.
no. By disgusted viewers, many who tagged Netflix in their attacks. Here's one person on TikTok. Why the FK did Netflix tag the Jeffrey Dahmer documentary LGBTQ
Because it is.
alongside showing the old tag alongside others for ominous, psychological, and horror? I mean,
I
I
mean, it
know it's
is.
technically
It
this
is.
that's what this next person says. I mean, I know it's technically true, but this is not the
Stop.
representation
Stop right
we're
there.
looking for.
Oh, I'm sorry that not all gay people are perfect. And okay, like the problem here isn't that you tagged it LGBTQ. It's that you have a specific section. You have a genre of movies that is just gay movies. Like that's that's not inclusion. That's exclusion. That's making your own separate group instead of making movies that happen to have characters that are sometimes gay. That's like setting yourself apart. And then if somebody sees that category and says, "Hey, this is a category about stories of gay people, good and bad," and puts this one that it is true. You can stop there.
Mhm.
It's true. And
Yeah,
also,
if
I
that's
don't know what Netflix was thinking.
yeah, so if you are I'm sorry, if you're gay
Good morning,
or
CD.
or trans or whatever, um, are these people really out searching the hashtag LGBTQ shows just to specifically like I don't ever get on Netflix. I'm like, man, I just want to find something straight to watch. Let's look up
Right.
hashtag heterosexual.
Yep.
Um, I mean, if you are looking for content specifically for that, you are not looking for not saying
Good
that there's
content.
not good content. Yeah, you're not looking for um shows or movies because it's something intellectual or something good to watch. You're like, I just want to watch this thing that agrees with me.
I just want
And
my affirmation-tainment.
and side tangent, if and this one might get me in trouble, a lot of trouble, but that's
Okay, Ray
okay.
Epps.
If Jeffrey Dahmer was not gay, he would not have committed as many murders as he did.
If he was not gay, he wouldn't have committed as many murders as he did. Why?
Correct.
I don't know
Because
much about the story.
because there was at least one incident where he drilled through this 14-year-old kid's skull and dumped acid in his brain. The kid like woke up and ran away, and these like neighbors found him and they called the cops. And the cops come and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is just my gay boyfriend. We're into some kinky shit, and he's really drunk." And the cops are like, "All right, do you have proof that he lives with you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got these super gay photos, man." And so they looked at the photos and they're like, "Wow, that's super gay and gross. Take your gay boyfriend back inside. I'm
You're
gonna go
right.
home and take
I
a
don't want
shower."
to know any more about this. Please carry on.
Yes, yeah, it's exactly literally what happened. It's like, okay, I mean, this was the 80s, this was the 90s, 91, I think. And so it's just like, the AIDS epidemic was at full force at the time. So the cops are like, ew, I got to go shower so I don't get your AIDS. And this is super gay. Go do your kinky shit. So if it wasn't for him being gay, he would have been arrested on the spot, or they at least would have looked into the shit that was going on. Not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm just saying
You're not saying
the
it's a
gay
good thing
part.
that he would have been arrested sooner?
No, that he wasn't arrested for being gay.
Oh,
I'm
gotcha.
saying if if that didn't happen, it never would have happened. And so the gay part plays a major part into the story of I mean, the show heavily focuses on like he takes like a male mannequin and starts feeling up a male mannequin on the show. So I mean, there's like a lot of super gay stuff on it. So I I don't know. Take if you want your content, I guess you got to take the villains too, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Jack Skellington says, I was kind of optimistic that the straight serial killers and the gay serial killers could be more inclusive with each other, but it seems like the LGBTQ community isn't ready for that kind of future. I mean, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Ha-
Are we not
let,
willing to accept the gay serial killers into normal society too?
right. If there was a straight category on Netflix, would it be wrong for them to put stories about straight people doing unsavory things in it?
Unsavory.
I mean, some people have called Jeffrey Dahmer's actions unsavory.
Yeah, slightly.
That's,
Jeffrey Dahmer, I think, literally thought it was savory because he
Mm.
like
don't spoil
grilled
it.
up
Don't spoil it.
body part. I don't think I think if you don't know Jeffrey Dahmer by now, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. In addition to this, before we move on, I did have another thing on the Jeffrey Dahmer stuff. Katy Perry is in trouble, and other musicians are in trouble because suddenly people know who this Jeffrey Dahmer reference is in the lyrics that to some songs, and people are big mad that Katy Perry had a line in Black Horse or Dark Horse or whatever the fuck it is that talks about Jeffrey Dahmer. Same with
What did the line say?
what?
What was the line?
Oh, it was hold on. One said, "Why isn't anyone calling out Katy Perry for allowing such a vile and terrible lyric to be included in one of her hit songs? Jeffrey was a notorious serial killer, and Katy chose to romanticize his criminal and inhumane actions. I feel sick to my stomach. She needs to apologize." The line was, "She eats your heart out like Jeffrey Dahmer," and it was sang by Juicy J on the song. It wasn't even sang by Katy Perry, and
I mean, that's a good line, I think.
it's not bad.
I mean, I like the line more knowing who Jeffrey Dahmer was. Why now? Like, why is she romanticizing Jeffrey Dahmer and blah blah blah? And I only realized this after I got done watching the romanticized
Exactly.
docuseries of Jeffrey
10
Dahmer on
years.
Netflix.
10 years after 10 years of enjoying that song, and then you see one documentary series on Netflix and you're like, "Oh, wait a second. Something's up. Like you're okay, they talk about like this being disrespectful to the families because now we know that these people had families and we know who Jeffrey Dahmer is all of a sudden. Being disrespectful to the families to have a line like "Eat your heart out like Jeffrey Dahmer" or Kesha's song "Cannibal." That
Yeah,
had the line.
the song is called
Right.
Cannibal.
Says, "Be too sweet and you'll be a goner." Yeah, I'll pull a Jeffrey Dahmer. But yeah, it's funny because like you've enjoyed these songs for 10 years, this one for 12 years, and now you're suddenly outraged because it's making it entertaining, but you only know this because of a show that like which one if one of these things is disrespectful to the families, do you think it's the entire show that shows the whole Jeffrey Dahmer story? And not that the show is like praising him necessarily, but you're watching that for your entertainment value at night. And
Yeah.
Kesha and Katy Perry wrote like one line in a song, and now you're suddenly outraged. Like it says more to just
I would be outraged if I was the musicians that it
yes,
took you this fucking
exactly.
long to understand what they were saying.
It says more about like just I said I don't know that much about Jeffrey Dahmer, but these people are like outraged all of a sudden. They're like, I didn't know anything about Jeffrey Dahmer. Like they're proud of their ignorance, and they are trying to get people canceled for it. And I think with all this, I know there's an Eminem one too, but that should come as no surprise.
Passed it
Okay, so
right there.
yeah, because I'd probably be Dahmer in his 2013 song. Okay, so if you're pissed off that Eminem referenced Jeffrey Dahmer, maybe listen to any other Eminem song, and you'll realize that like you should be more concerned about Eminem being a serial killer than Eminem referencing a serial killer. So
Right.
calm down.
He has multiple songs about killing women and
Right.
like dumping their corpses and stuff, but we should be concerned that he said I'd probably be Dahmer.
Right.
That's the concerning line. Well, maybe he shouldn't offend people with his violent lyrics. It's like they've been saying that since Eminem came out. All
He
the
was the
boomers have been saying
reason
that.
that there's a parental advisory sticker, I'm pretty sure.
So it sounds like all these people that used to follow or still probably follow these people are suddenly turning to boomers.
Yes, exactly. And I do have to wonder, because this made me think of a line in a song that nobody's mentioning, and I feel sorry for 303, the band that was a thing once, because they do have this line, and I swear to your honor that in my car that girl was biting on my lips like Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, this is not a new phenomenon that people are referencing Jeffrey Dahmer. In fact, none of these songs I think were written in the past decade. So calm down, y'all.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
we're not even
yeah, I mean,
canceling current people. We're canceling history now.
again, the fact that you are taking the time of your evening to fill your brain with the Jeffrey Dahmer docuseries and then getting outraged that people are referencing Jeffrey Dahmer, that should be telling enough. It's just like you're entertaining yourself with
Yeah.
so much worse, which I am too. I stayed up till like midnight watching the Dahmer series last night. So but you're filling your brain with so much worse than that fucking line in a song could possibly reference.
Yes. CD says, "Hi kids, do you like violence?" Eminem. Yes. That's like his most famous line, and that's a decent segue into our next article if we're done on Dahmer here.
I think so.
Okay. The next thing, I guess it's not an article, but
I'm done with Dahmer until I go have breakfast.
you're what?
I'm done with Dahmer until I go have breakfast.
Nice. So, speaking of kids and violence and things, there's this another docuseries coming out. This one is not about what?
I said these docuseries are great.
Yes. I feel like we are like I hear the Dahmer series is really good, but I feel like we're getting very creatively bankrupt at this point because now this is what we're dealing with.
It just exploded nationwide.
It was a cultural phenomenon.
What color is happier than purple? No color.
This is Barney, and this is what he sounded like. Barney stands for inclusion, acceptance.
You should love everyone. We all have Cheryl Leach to thank for that.
As her beloved character was heading into the stratosphere, people couldn't accept that this was just a show, and so let the bashing begin.
Now,
Barney became a target for hate.
How are you feeling about this so far? Because frankly, by this point in the trailer, the first time I watched it, I was like, "You're joking, right? This is like a Funny or Die sketch. This is SNL or something."
Yeah. Now, to be straight up honest, looking back on what I know throughout history now, any adult that dressed up in a fluffy costume and hung out with kids for his career probably had some sketchy stuff going on, in my opinion.
That's the thing. I watched through this the first time, and I'm still not entirely sure what the angle is that they're going with here. It almost seems like they're playing this up like with the music, and it's called "I Love You, You Hate Me." It feels like they're trying to convince you that this is about some bad thing that the guy who played Barney did or that the company did or something like that. But it almost seems, I think after watching this a couple times, I'm pretty sure this is just a docuseries about
Barney oppression.
Yes, Barney getting bullied online before the internet. And as much as I wouldn't have cared about the other story that I thought this was, I really, really don't care about this story.
Rumors that I heard, Barney hides drugs in his tail.
They were violent and explicit.
Death and dismemberment of my family.
I love you, Barney.
They were going to come and find me, and they were going to kill me.
Just the dark side of this.
If it's a 2-part docuseries, is it really a docuseries?
No, it's just...
Or is it a documentary?
Yes.
Whole moment that must have devastated Cheryl.
There was something larger going on.
I don't think you could think somebody would go and shoot someone.
Is that playing on your end? What is happening?
Yeah, it was.
You're glitching out. Something's glitching out.
I think you're glitching out.
Huh.
All frozen. Well, I'm just very delayed.
Huh. Well.
Anyway.
How about now?
No, you're
Nope.
good, I think.
Nope.
No.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's probably about enough of that. Anyway, and we can speak in robot until we get out of here, I suppose.
I don't hear robot.
Okay. Greg, you got any thoughts on Barney?
Um,
Try mute yourself for a second. Let me see if it changes anything. Check. Yeah, it's not happening now on my end. Unmute yourself. No,
unmuted.
and it's back. Craig, I'll let you wrap this up because this is maddening and I can hear myself and they can probably hear me looped and it's
Yeah, I don't know.
the system's
never
down to
done
the
this
TV. I'm sorry, Barney,
Oh.
that this happened to you, and I'm sorry to the creators, and I'm sorry to Mr. Rogers, Fred, as I called him, and I'm sorry to everybody who suffered the... Oh, it's not happening now. Okay. Craig, do you have any thoughts so far on this Barney thing?
I mean, yes, there was Barney hate out there, just like there's Elmo hate out there, just like there was probably Blue's Clues hate. Like every child thing that was so obnoxious to the up and coming adult, yes, there was hate out there. Why the fuck do we need a documentary about it?
Because we have nothing left. And the Elmo documentary, I'm pretty sure, was more about the corruption of...
There's an Elmo documentary?
Yeah, there's an Elmo documentary, and it's about the corruption of the guy who voiced Elmo or something for a long time. That one makes a little bit more sense. This one feels like reaching, like really, really reaching to make something, and you couldn't come up with even 3 episodes for your docuseries. I would guess, if I was trying to predict the future, I would bet that I'm not going to watch this. But it makes for a funny parody video here, and that's really all I have.
I just don't understand the world we live in, the outrage coming from, like, let's drudge up old shit. Like, I could see if Barney was played by some, or like supposed to be some caricature of some black guy or something, that, and all of a sudden we're looking back and we're like, wow, that was really wrong. But we're looking back on a show that had no controversy and digging up
Right.
um
It's so
what
not controversial. I feel like the main issue that people had with Barney was that there was no depth to it at all. Like it pandered and made kids seem like idiots because the whole thing is just like, "Yay, we're playing with butterflies. I love you. Good night." Like
mhm.
there was no real actual story to the thing at all. If there was a criticism, it's not that it's I don't know. The only criticism I can think of for Barney is that it sucks, and that doesn't warrant a docuseries to me. Even if people told you it sucks many times, even maybe there was a hate letter sent or death threats or something like that. Okay, some people are crazy, and you were in the public eye, a public figure. Some people are crazy. Just be glad you weren't Dahmered, and shut up. Your show lasted for like 13 seasons. You weren't oppressed. You
Right.
made a show about nothing for 13 seasons. Good job.
Fact check this podcast says, I thought Barney was played by a raging homosexual. I mean, I just assumed that. I didn't hear any evidence of it, but I just assumed that it was because, I mean, what's a happier, gayer color than purple? I mean,
Yeah,
isn't that exactly what what's his name said? Bill Nye
Bill
the
Nye.
Science Guy.
Yep.
So, yeah, I
And if
do
he
remember
was played by that, should this go in the LGBTQ section of Peacock?
hearing, yes, obviously. Obviously, it should. Should definitely get the hashtag, right? And it should be like, if you like the Jeffrey Dahmer series, you would really like this oppressed Barney series.
Yeah. I think whether or not Barney was played by a gay guy, this should go into the LGBTQ section of Peacock because it's gay.
Yeah, it's super gay. Like I said, I do remember hearing, like, as a person in my 20s and stuff, I remember hearing the rumors online that, like, the drug rumors and this rumor, and I mean the same is said for Blue's Clues. How many times did we hear that Steve left because he was, like, strung out on drugs or
Right.
something, or he committed suicide or he overdosed, and in reality, he just went on and formed a band, which was less
Did he
popular than
really?
Blue. Yes.
Wow.
He went to college and
Who
became a
doesn't want to
drummer
go
in a
see a rock band with Blues Clues legend Steve playing
yes.
drums?
But are we gonna make a docuseries about that? But about
Yes.
all the rumors surrounding that?
Yes.
I would
Yes.
rather watch that.
The big comfy couch girl was a heroin addict, and Fred Rogers was a Marine who was covered in tattoos and killed 50 men. Yes, there's rumors about all these characters because that's really the only. Once you're an adult, there's no value to these characters at all to anybody because it's worn off. And so why not? Why not make up shit about them and then make documentaries about it 20 years later?
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Just like Jeffrey Dahmer. That's why we're making docuseries about him because of nostalgia.
Right. I mean, once the appeal of Jeffrey Dahmer wears off, what do you have left? You gotta revive that shit somehow.
Exactly.
Craig, where can people find you and the stuff?
They can find the stuff that I do at Break the Bell Pod on the social medias. Follow me on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Break the Bell Pod, or go to breakthebellpod.com and you can find everything that I do, most things, most of the everything that I do.
And you can follow me mostly on Twitter at TSIDpod or on the internet at thesystemisdown.tv and get links to all the things. And this has been really something, Craig.
It's something indeed.
It's been 2 scoops.
This has been 2 Scoops Morning News every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 a.m. Central or whenever we feel like it. Until next time, hang in there, America.